the cells are using sugar and fat for fuel. Sugar and fat. And depending on the intensity of effort, will determine what substrates get used for energy. When you're going super high intensity, the body's using glucose for fuel in the moment. Now, super duper high intensity, a sprint for 10, 20 seconds will use up sugar for energy. Guys are saying, yeah, but I want to burn fat for fuel. That whole fat burning zone theory, I want to burn fat for fuel. So I don't want to sprint. I want to jog it. I'll jog it, valet parking jog. I'll go get your Mercedes, a valet parking jog, and I'll just go and do it. I'll do 30 minutes of that. I'm in the fat burning zone. Cool. Guess what? In that half an hour, yes, you will burn body fat, mobilize body fat for energy. Here's the problem with that. Just because something is good does not make it a good thing, or something is true doesn't make it a good thing. Here's why. Because what studies have shown, whatever energy system you bring during your workout, you burn the opposite for the next day or two. I'll give you an example. When you're using up fat for fuel during the workout, the next day or two, your body switches energy systems and starts using sugar for fuel, and it gets that sugar by the rise in cortisol. I said cortisol earlier converts your muscle tissue as fuel, as sugar, and uses that. And that's what makes you pare down muscle tissue over time. Okay? So you are altering the cortisol testosterone response by you going what we call zone 2 training. That's the first thing that happens. The second thing that happens, muscle fibers are incredibly, they have neuroplasticity, they have a morphology to them, and they morph based on the exercise that they're exposed to. So if you're doing a jog every single day, i.e. mimicking the life of a marathon runner, your body gets you more efficient at that. It says, okay, if this is the case, our fast twitch fibers, which are responsible for about 85% of muscular growth, we don't need them anymore. Let's make this individual more efficient at this activity. So it breaks down muscle tissue. It converts the type 2, 2A, 2B fibers, which are the fast twitch fibers, into type 1 fibers. And they're a lot thinner. They're a lot smaller. They're a lot more frail. And now you become more efficient at running. Sure enough, you've lost weight, but you've lost muscle tissue and you've lost fat. And you start morphing into a marathon runner. On the flip side, what about a sprinter? What are they doing for 10, 20 seconds? They're going to go bah, 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 bah. 10, 20 seconds, okay? Take as much recovery as they need to get their breath back. In that 10, 20 seconds, guess what hormones go up? Testosterone, growth hormone. They both go bang through the roof. So too does norepinephrine and epinephrine, because it's a stress response, okay? And because they're not prolonging the duration of the activity, cortisol is in check. Remember, cortisol's goal is to mobilize glycogen, and the longer you go into training, the more cortisol rises over time. So you have to know when to sort of check out. So cortisol's in check, growth hormone's going up, testosterone's going up, norepinephrine's going up. All these beautiful hormones are going up that are responsible for maximizing muscle tissue and dropping body fat. And it gets better because remember, they're using sugar for fuel during that bout. And what studies have showed, the energy systems you bring during workout, you burn the opposite for the next day or two. What are they using for fuel the next couple of days? Body fat. So a marathon runner burns fat for fuel. That jog, the valet jog, burns fat for fuel. But the next day or two, you're breaking down muscle tissue to use as sugar for fuel. A sprinter uses sugar for fuel during their training. For the next day or two, they're burning body fat. It flips. And that's what makes them look the way that they do. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's so interesting because you think you're doing the right thing and your body's doing the right thing for you. But because of the way you're doing it, your body ends up working against your goals.
It does. And then it gets worse on this jog because over time, so number one, growth hormone goes down, testosterone goes down, cortisol goes up. You lose muscle tissue, you lose body fat, but you become, from a big peg to a small peg, you're still jiggly. You're not tight like a drum. You're not pulled back tight and lean, okay? It gets worse because we have a metabolic set point now, because now, let's say the half an hour jog may burn 300 so-called calories, as Bart K calls it, so-called calories. Over time, your body becomes more efficient, and those 300 become 250 and 200. Your body's trying to get better at the exercise, so it's trying to salvage energy to do that in. So it's a losing battle. It's a losing battle to do that if your goal is getting as lean as possible. And when you understand, because success leaves clues, Dave. If you knew nothing about exercise science and all you had was the anecdotal evidence of athletes, the most favorable optimal body composition, favorable optimal meaning maximum muscle, minimal body fat, are two athletes in Olympic competition. One's a sprinter, the other one is a gymnast. They're the two. They're the two. Now, two exercises gymnasts do, so you know what they are. Very simple. Chin-ups and dips. One pulling movement, one pushing movement. I'll add a third one in there, squats. So if you had to do a workout for life, that would be your three exercises. A chin-up, a dip, and a squat. Push-pull legs. Especially a dip. A dip is the upper body squat. So life gives us clues. Life gives us, indications what to do, what not to do. And I think we have to be real aware of that. Okay, I want to train like a sprinter. What do? They train for performance. They lift with weights because they need more power and speed. And because I train like that, I'll start looking like one. I'm not saying identical, but you'll be on track. But we have this, when it comes to fat loss, we have this reductionistic approach. Diana Schwartzbein said it perfectly. You've got to build the metabolism to burn fat, not destroy it in order to do so. Build the metabolism, build muscle tissue, raise the metabolic rate. Don't starve yourself into fat loss. Another big, big mistake. And I see it very common in the carnivore space. Here's why.